Got a little friction down in Houston. Miami. Things got a little testy. The Rockets were frustrated. They couldn't throw it in the ocean. The game was physical. And tempers were flaring. Before the fight went down, Fred VanVleet got tossed from the game. He got called for a 5-second call on the inbounds. And then trying to plead his case to Mark Davis. He walked up on Mark Davis, bumped him. Now, Davis, come on, guys. You don't play with Mark Davis. You know, he has that, if bro would have, Mark Davis is not playing any games whatsoever. So you might as well just, when you see the bald head, just turn and walk away. So after that, Amen Thompson was throwing around Tyler Hero like a sack of potatoes. Although in Hero's defense, he wasn't braced for it. It just kind of happened. He never could have suspected that something like that would happen, and then things got spicy. Now, one of the things with this new NBA, so many of I won't say so many, but you hear it from the older generation that this generation, I guess the term is soft. I never believed it. I agree with some of the people that say it's not soft, it's just that the fines are hefty. And this will prove to be proof when they hand the fines out for this. I wouldn't be surprised if Amen Thompson got like a 5-game suspension. And I don't know how what the protocol is for suspensions, but that wasn't a good look, grabbing someone by their jersey. And then in the melee, after the melee, everybody got tossed. I think it was 6 people, 2 coaches, 4 players. So it's great in theory. This isn't the first skirmish. Just even in the past 5 days, there's been a number of incidents. Rockets lately seem to be involved in a lot of stuff. The bad boy Rockets. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after this. NBA players today soft? I don't think so. But in trying to figure this out, will things get softer? Will the fines be so hefty that nobody does anything? I mean, part of the deal with how things are going right now is that fans want competitiveness. I think everyone wants competitiveness. I think the players want competitiveness. A number of events have transpired to where the level of competitiveness has gone down. I personally believe that team valuations are at the core of how everything has gone. It all starts with the team valuation. If you own an NBA team, let's say you bought the team for $1 billion and it's worth $5 billion, $6 billion, then, or it can be worth that amount of money, then everything is in the interest of boosting the valuation. So a lot of decisions are made, which ultimately is about boosting valuations and not necessarily winning. And so you end up in a spot where, saying the league is soft, there's too many three-pointers, you got to change rules to improve scoring, XYZ. Things don't go in an organic manner. And then you end up in places that you never thought you would, but you don't really get to the core of why things were moving in that direction. Maybe in the future I can give a few more ideas. I was thinking about doing a video on the ratings. I have some unique perspectives on why I think the ratings are down and what can be done to get them going back up. But I think one of the things that is crucial in bringing ratings up are for your big city teams to be good, which means Lakers. Now the Lakers had a game against Sacramento the other night, and I'll show some random highlights, but there's not really a theme. I knew immediately that it wasn't going to be much of a game. I mean, it would be kind of good, but not really. The reason being that the Kings head coach, Mike Brown, was fired. But there was a weird feeling that I got from the situation. I love Mike Brown. Mike Brown's my guy. The story was that Brown got fired. He was headed to the airport. This is all allegedly, and he just got a phone call that said that his services were no longer required. Coach Mike Malone for the Denver Nuggets gave his input on what happened. Me personally, I don't know enough about what the situation is going on with Sacramento in relation to what Mike Malone said. Obviously, there's smoke, there's fire. But a few things about, from an outsider's perspective. One thing, Mike Brown came in and he was very demanding. He had a structure, he had his own philosophies that he had been refining over the years. This is his opportunity to put all that he gathered to use. Of course, he coached LeBron early on. He had a couple stints with Cleveland as head coach, a short stint with the Lakers, and then he won championships with Golden State. He compiled all that knowledge. People remember he was coaching, I believe, the Nigerian team, which beat Team USA in a game. And then Brown comes in as head coach of Sacramento, and he has this complicated system. I'm not sure how well the players took to that system. Immediately I noticed early on that Coach Brown and Kevin Huerter were at odds, and that situation never seemed to resolve itself. Huerter was on his way up as a shooting guard. He was on the rise, and then he got in this system, and it was like the rug was pulled out from under him. And then you just kind of saw the Kings plateau after their very short playoff run in 2023. Although they hadn't been to the playoffs in around 20 years. And Coach Brown won Coach of the Year, which you would think that would carry some merit, but doesn't seem to be the case in this new NBA. You can win a championship and get fired 5 minutes later. Once again, going back to my theories on team evaluation. Now, to outsiders, we don't really know how powerful players are as far as coaches' decisions go. As far as what the general public can find out about what goes on with a team on the inside, my estimations are that the general public probably knows less than 10% of what really goes on. Even media insiders, local reporters, they probably know, 40%. And they have very lucrative, elaborate types of information, insights on what is really going on with teams. If you really want to know what's going on with your team, you don't look at national media. They really don't know much of anything. Basically, they have little more than headline information. Unless somebody is juiced in with a team, then they hear stuff behind the scenes. And of course, they can't really say what they really know. Say all that to say, when they interviewed De'Aaron Fox, the reporters were asking questions, basically probing, trying to find out how much Fox knew about the situation. And of course, reporters are going to read everything into everything, including the beads of sweat that were on Fox's forehead. Those beads of stress, or was it he just got through working out? They're watching his eyes, they're watching his behavior. Is he wringing his hands? Oh, he wrung his hands. You saw that? So it was kind of an intense interview. Do I think Brown should have been fired? That's not what I do. I don't get into all that. I do know also, though, that when you own a team, well, this is my opinion. When you have a team, it is a very personal thing to an owner. It becomes their baby. If it didn't start out being their baby, it's an immense source of pride. And you can take things personal. You also really don't know how it is with owners when they get in the rooms and who looks down on who. You know, does one owner look across the room and be like, oh, here comes the losers? That's just me assuming things, but we're talking about human beings, so I'm pretty sure there's definitely some of that going on. So Sacramento had taken some bad losses, including they just came off of losing 4 straight at home. 2 of those losses were to the Lakers. Tough pill to swallow. They've had more than 1 consecutive loss streaks. Sometimes some people just get tired of losing. We don't know how competitive the Kings owner is. We really don't know what's going on. Is it possible that there is a plan to tank so that they can get in the CFS, which is the Cooper Flag Sweepstakes? Or is it they just want to win? It's interesting that hearing the comments, especially from Fox, about the new system that they would be running is less complicated or more simple. Coach Doug Christie's machinations. And when you watch the Kings play, you can see what they mean by that. They have some of the right tools, but I don't believe they're tooled all the way correctly. And I think sometimes the one blamed isn't necessarily the real issue. So time will tell with the Kings. But watching the game, Lakers versus Sacramento, you can see that there is a heavy weight on Fox's shoulders. And I had a feeling this would be the case, so I didn't think much of this game. The Lakers won a game which felt pretty easy. They just had to execute. They didn't necessarily play great defense by any means. King James was out with the birthday flu. Fortunately, somehow, some way, they got an extra day of rest before they face Cleveland. Probably just a coincidence there. The Lakers were very solid. Dalton Connect is back. He had a big game, but he had a good mix of scoring. Finishing in transition, some mid-range, some three balls. He's mixing it up. Earlier in the season, it was just three ball or nothing. Although he would get a dunk here or there. But he looks like he has renewed confidence. AD did his thing, of course. It was obvious Sabonis wasn't really into the game either. Him and AD usually have more of a clash than that, but it was a runaway with AD this time around. And then, of course, the and one king, Austin Reeves, flexed his muscles. 16 big assists. He just ran everything. It's like he was running the popcorn stand, the beer, making sure the towel boys got up all the water spots, made sure the Gatorade mix was correct. He was just doing everything. It's no surprise. Also not a surprise is that my man D-Lo was giving us walking papers. Of course, it's not that serious. D-Lo will be fine. One thing that, of course, I've been aware of for a long time is the blame culture that swirls around the Laker organization, whether it's with the fan base or what have you. But D-Lo has been on the chopping block for some time now. And it's not even necessarily that he was doing something wrong, although somebody had to be blamed for last year and that might have carried over. But also, he might not have just fit the new system that the Lakers were trying to install. All we can do is wait and see what happens. Dorian Finney-Smith, a new addition, which for me, he's just a new guy. I understand there may be an interest from the Lakers side as far as how they stack up with, say, a Boston team. And maybe the Boston efficiency, how Boston goes about things. and then maybe staffing in order to play in that kind of style. Once again, time will tell. Me personally, I'll just be watching that. That's about all I can say about it. Been watching Boston get whacked the last few games. I'm waiting to hear someone say it's not a big deal. Of course, Boston took a loss at home to the Pacers last night, in which the Pacers gave it to Boston. Of course, Drew Holiday was out. So, once again, time will tell. For me, it's just interesting. I know that, of course, with fans and everything, there's this intoxication with making trades. Trades are always the answer to everything. And then if they don't work, then you just trade some more. People like movement, interaction. I understand it. The second apron is a mother. You always have to, and this, since the new CBA rules took effect, you have to be conscious of all your pennies. Some are going for the big one, irregardless of the pennies, and some are going for the big one, but in respect of the pennies also. That seems to be part of what the Lakers' concerns are. So, next game, Cleveland Cavaliers. Revenge should be in the air. The Lakers took quite a pounding in Cleveland. Are the Lakers going for that? Or is there hell to pay come Tuesday night? Stay tuned. I'm out.